Welcome back to the Coins Information HD channel, where we dive deep into the world of rare coins, hidden treasures, and the fascinating stories behind the money we use to hold in our hands every day. Today, we are exploring one of the most talked about modern Irish coins, a piece that has stirred curiosity among collectors and casual hobbyists alike. This is the story of the 1994 Ireland 5 pence coin, often referred to as the 1994 no-mint mark 5p. Although Ireland did not use mint marks in the same way other countries did, the phrase has become popular among collectors who distinguish it from foreign-minted test strikes or fantasy pieces. In this video, you will learn everything about the history of this coin, the circumstances in which it was produced, why some collectors believe it is special, how much it is truly worth today, and what its market value looks like as we move further into 2025. Let's begin by turning back the clock to understand where the 1994 5 pence coin fits into the broader timeline of Irish coinage. When Ireland decimalised its currency in the early 1970s, the 5 pence coin replaced the former shilling but kept the same iconic design of the bull, created decades earlier by English sculptor Percy Metcalfe. For many years, the 5 pence coin was large and heavy, making it inconvenient for circulation, especially as inflation gradually made low-value coins less important in day-to-day transactions. By the early 1990s, the Irish government decided it was time to modernize the coinage. A smaller and more efficient version of the 5 pence coin was introduced in 1992, using less metal and costing significantly less to produce while still keeping the familiar bull design. The 1994 issue of this smaller 5p coin stands out because it was part of the early years of the updated series. While millions were minted, these early small-type coins were not hoarded in large numbers because the Irish public saw them simply as everyday change. As a result, many examples were heavily circulated, worn down through years of use, and eventually withdrawn after Ireland adopted the euro in 2002. When the euro arrived, all Irish pound coins, including the 5 pence, were demonetized and many were melted in bulk. This means that although the mintage appears large on paper, a much smaller number of high-grade surviving coins remain today. Collectors often call the coin the 1994 no-mint mark 5p, not because a mint mark was ever expected, but because Ireland never placed mint marks on its circulating coins. Unlike countries such as the United States where mint marks like P, D, or S help identify where a coin was produced, Ireland struck its own coins without such symbols. This makes any Irish decimal coin a no-mint mark piece by default. However, this label has gained traction in the collecting community, often used to emphasize that the coin is the standard Dublin minted version and not a later imitation, pattern strike, or unofficial novelty reproduction. It also underscores the simplicity of Irish coinage during this era, when the nation preferred a uniform design without additional markings. While the 1994 5 pence coin does not rank among the rarest decimal Irish coins ever issued, it has enough charm and historical context to attract growing interest. One reason for this interest is the relatively lower survival rate of pristine examples. Coins from the mid-1990s were heavily circulated, and people rarely saved fresh uncirculated coins unless they were active collectors. This means that high-grade examples, especially those in mint state, command more attention. Additionally, the cultural nostalgia surrounding pre-Euro Irish coinage has increased significantly over the last decade. Many people who grew up with these coins now seek to reclaim a part of their past, driving demand for even common denominations. Another factor influencing its desirability is the wider global trend of collectors turning toward affordable modern coins. As rare historic coins become more expensive, new collectors are focusing on interesting modern pieces from the 1970s through the early 2000s. The 1994 5p fits into this growing category of entry-level collectible coins, especially for those fascinated by European currency transitions. And because Ireland modernized its coinage again after the introduction of the euro, these older designs are no longer seen in circulation, giving them additional sentimental value. Now let's talk about money. What is the 1994 Ireland 5 pence coin actually worth today? The short and simple answer is that most circulated examples do not hold high monetary value, but the full explanation requires a deeper look. A typical 1994 5p found in everyday condition, with wear on the bull design and some dulling of the metal, usually sells for a very modest amount. These are common and were used extensively, so collectors do not pay high prices for worn examples. You might expect such a coin to sell for anything from a few cents up to around $1 depending on its condition. Coins in better condition, such as lightly circulated pieces showing sharper details, may sell for slightly more. These are the types of coins that appeal to collectors who want a solid example for a starter collection without spending too much. These coins may bring in a small but respectable premium, possibly around $1 or slightly higher. The real value appears when we move into uncirculated or near uncirculated condition. These coins were either saved immediately after distribution or pulled from bank bags before circulating. In high grade, especially when the original luster is still brilliant, the 1994 5 pence becomes more appealing to collectors. These coins may sell for several dollars, sometimes more depending on eye appeal and market trends. In some cases, a seller may list them at much higher prices, but the final sale usually depends on collector demand rather than the asking price. Coins in sealed mint sets or those graded by professional coin grading services can command even more, though grading fees often exceed the coin's actual value. Among all varieties, error coins stand out as the most valuable. Though errors in the 1994 5p are not commonly documented, any known minting errors such as off-center strikes, clipped planchets, double dies, or wrong metal planchets could elevate the coin's worth dramatically. Such coins could potentially sell for dozens or even hundreds of dollars depending on the severity and uniqueness of the error. These are not typical and should be authenticated by an expert to avoid confusion with damaged or altered coins. Now let's look ahead. As we progress through 2025, what is the coin's projected value and market behavior? The trend for Irish pre-Euro coins has been slowly rising over the past few years, driven mainly by nostalgia and beginner collectors. This means that while the 1994 5 pence is unlikely to explode in value, its gradual appreciation is very realistic. In 2025, most circulated examples still hover below a couple of dollars, while higher-grade uncirculated pieces may reach slightly higher premiums. Exceptional uncirculated coins may sell for a bit more if they display outstanding luster or sharp strikes. Because tens of millions were minted originally, it is unlikely that this coin will become a major rarity in the near future unless a specific error type is discovered and widely recognized. However, the number of surviving mint state examples continues to shrink slowly as time passes, which means the value of the best specimens could increase gradually over the next decade. It is a coin with more sentimental and historical value than investment power, but it still occupies an important place in Ireland's numismatic timeline. If you own one of these coins, the best thing you can do is examine it carefully. Look at the sharpness of the bull, check the harp on the other side for clear strings and lines, and evaluate how much original shine remains. Avoid cleaning the coin at all costs, as cleaning usually destroys the value. Store it properly to prevent further wear or marks, and if the condition appears exceptional, consider having it professionally graded. Thank you for joining me on this long and detailed exploration of the 1994 Ireland 5 pence coin. Whether you are a collector, a history fan, or someone who simply enjoys rediscovering old coins, I hope this helped you understand the true story and value of this fascinating little piece of Irish history. If you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel for more rare coin content, and share your own experiences with Irish coins in the comments below.